So now, first as we understand what is Salesforce, and now next I am coming in that Salesforce for development, what I need to do, okay, and why do I need to come to development, okay. So today's session we are going to discuss all these topics, okay, and I'm just making a note of each one here. So first thing, why do I need to Salesforce development, okay. First thing we'll discuss why do we need Salesforce development, and if I need Salesforce development, what are the things I can use to do it, what tools or you use, what tools or what are the approach we can use for this, okay. Now when I'm saying why do I need to development, see, you know the admins, okay, create an object, automate the process by using workflow, process builder or flow, everything is there. Even you can build some formula field, validation rules, but still we came to this development session. So there are many stuffs, okay, which is not in out of box functionality, and I want to customize something which is not provided by Salesforce. Then I will come from development. Like whenever somebody say write a validation rule, okay, if it is not a easy forward, like if I'll tell okay write a validation rule on opportunity object, okay, in that opportunity check for the associated account total how many products we have, in that product if has specific category this and that category not shared with any other customers, then show some validation message, okay. If you do in that way, then we cannot write a simple validation rule, then we need to have some specific logic for that, okay. We need to write our own logic. So in that time we will come to write some kind of logic or some kind of code in my Salesforce environment or org. Then that time nothing but I will come to write some program. So when I'm saying I'll write from program, then how I'll write? If I'm saying I'm writing a program, then what language or what thing you need to use? So then Salesforce comes with one language which we call Apex. Nothing but you have heard about Java, .NET, PHP, C Sharp, C, many languages. So like that, there is some language Salesforce.com provided to us. Nothing but we call Apex, which usually we call it's the first cloud programming language. Okay, so this is the first cloud programming language provided by Salesforce.com. Okay, as to write some logic in multi-tenant server. Okay, so I'm not writing any class to store in my local system. Like if you see in Java, you write a class in Notepad, Notepad++, or Eclipse, and store it in your system. You can do that way. But this is everything I'm doing in the cloud. Okay, so that kind of things we're going to discuss. So first, now I understood, okay, to do any development I need to write something using Apex language, okay. So what is that Apex, okay. So first point we are discussing what is Apex, okay. We'll understand, okay, something Apex is there, we'll write something and we'll do it because of some customization we need, like the example I gave for validation rule. So then in that way many scenario will come, the regions where we need to write the Apex, okay. So all the points you're going to cover. So first let's see what is Apex. When somebody asks you what is Apex, it's nothing but we understood, okay, something, it's a programming language provided by Salesforce.com. But this Apex is nothing but, I said, it's a fast cloud programming language, okay. So like see, if I say C Sharp or Java or any language, all are nothing but one OOPS programming language, object oriented programming concepts, correct. So I will explain why I call Apex as OOPS and what are the features we will have OOPS, okay. And in that OOPS, what are the special features we have in Salesforce Apex, okay. So when I say Apex, we call it is a programming language, but it is a strongly typed programming language, okay. Strongly typed programming language, okay. So nothing but again strongly typed OOPS programming language, okay. So Apex follow all the specification provided by OOPS concept. Nothing but when we call it, it's nothing but follows polymorphism, inheritance, abstraction, okay, and object class, everything, okay. So any programming language follows this specification, we call it as a OOPS programming language, okay. So now Apex is a programming language provided by Salesforce, which is a OOPS language and it is strongly typed language, And when I say strongly typed, what does it mean? Okay, I'll give you one small example. Okay, so nothing but see, if I write string, let s1 equal to 5. So as I mentioned string, I am writing like this. Okay, I'll explain how I'm writing this, what is this, everything I'll explain in future classes. When I go to class, variable, data type, I'll explain. Just to explain what is Apex, I'm just giving these lines. If you don't understand what is string s1 equal to 5, no worry for this. We have special session for this. Okay, I mean second session I'll explain what is class, what is variable, what is data type. That time I'll explain this line also. Okay, nothing but this is one variable of type string where I'm storing a value 5. Same way, if I say string s2, nothing but I can say it is 10. Okay, in that context, when I'm saying if I do, let's see, I will do string s3 equal to s1 plus s2. When I'm saying that, okay, so what happens here? S1 s2, if you do, this is both string. So as an assumption, if I see 5 and 10, I may think it will add. There are so many programming language. If I define string, but here if I have a integer type of value, it will by default do summation. But here it will not do. What will happen? So here it will concatenate to string. So string means in whatever way you represent, it is a string, strongly typed. I have defined the type is string. Whatever the way you define the value here, it is just just a string. So 5 plus 10 when I do, it will not sum it will concatenate it. Okay, just two string adding in one string. Okay, so these kind of features we support in Apex. So Apex is a completely strongly typed OOPS programming language. Okay, and there are many features we have. Nothing but it's integrated. I'll explain why I'm saying integrated. It's easy to use, data focused. Its version control is so easy, and it works in multi-tenant as usual. So see, if anytime you see, like for any application, right now, if you work in Salesforce admin to maintain the data, you create objects. Okay, or you, if you go to any other programming language for that object, let me make a small diagram here. Okay, which will give a little bit more clarity to us. Let it open. Okay, so whenever I'm saying that I have, let's assume, one database, you may think it's Salesforce database or any other language. Okay, so database that right now for Salesforce we use exactly Oracle database as a backend. Okay, same way you consider it's a database for any programming language. If my logical layer or my application layer is here and it's my database, so from my application or from my business logic layer, I need to connect to database always. Okay, I need to get the response from database, nothing but I want to get list of accounts from account object. Okay, where account falls in rating of hot. If I go that way, so I need to send some request to database to get it. Okay, so my database is here. If you go to any other programming language, what we do here, we always write one piece of code to open the connection to database. Okay, and once my activity over, then we write some piece of code to close the connection, and in between that you perform the operations what you want from database. But in Salesforce is integrated and data focused language. Apex is integrated and data focused language, nothing but which I'm saying here. I have mentioned here also, it's integrated and data focused. That means the programming language what I'm using, okay, Apex. So I don't need to have a open connection, close connection, because the database and my business layer, it is integrated to each other. One example, and another example. See, if you see, I wrote some line of code here. Okay, in my, let's consider I wrote one class, okay, or something where I wrote some line of code, and here, as you know, the Salesforce admin, so I'm saying, so here I used one field from account object. Let's consider account number, the field I referred in this program. Okay, or maybe some custom account number field I have referred here. So right now this custom account number field I have in database, correct, in my account table. So in future I felt that field I don't want now. I just want to delete the field from my object. When I want to delete the field, the database and my business layer, it's integrated. That means the moment I delete this field, it will check internally. Salesforce will check internally, oh, do I have any reference of this field in any class, any object, sorry, any trigger, any class, or any formula fields, or any validation rules. If it is there, it will not allow you to delete it because completely Apex is integrated to my database. Okay, and always the Apex programming is data focused, means I can get the data from this object just simply writing one query statement. For other programming language, I don't need to write a stored procedures. If you know any database language, we need a very big lines of code, which we call stored procedure or functions. We don't want that. Just one line of query you can fire, which can talk to my database internally and can give me the result. Okay, so we call Apex nothing but it's a integrated data focused language. Okay, so now the versioning, the like I'm saying, what are the benefits we have in Apex? When you say the versioning, okay, so I wrote one specific class right now. Okay, now Salesforce was in maybe summer 16 release. When I was in summer 16, that time I have written one language, one class. So that class was in some version in summer 16. Okay, so now in 3 years, now Salesforce coming in winter 19. Okay, and winter 19, there are so many features comes to us. Okay, and that moment I just want to upgrade my that class to winter 19. Okay, so I want to change the version of that old class when you, okay, or if I have some class which right now I'm writing, I right now I'm writing, then it will be associated to directly winter 19 version. Okay, same way the versioning is that easy. Let me show you how we do versioning here. Let's see, I have one specific class I'm taking here. I'll explain all this UI where to get what. Okay, just to explain you the advantages of the Apex programming, I'm showing you. See, if I go to this class, so if you want to change the version of this class from anyone, like you can navigate to old version, you can come to new version to support a specific feature. Then what you do, you see all the versions. Right now my class comes in version 41. I want to change it. Just simply edit it. Okay, I can go forward or backward to any version. See, go to this version setting. You can change for the version I have available. All this version I can use. If I want this class, I can run right now in 44 version. So all the features what I have in 44 version will be inbuilt support to this class. So the versioning of these classes is quite easy because we are writing the program in the cloud, as Apex being the first cloud programming language provided by Salesforce. Okay. So till now, let me know if you have any confusion, any question for me.
No, Devashish.
Perfect. Okay. So same way I said multi-tenant. We know Salesforce nothing but a works in the multi-tenant architecture. So if I explain that concept, let me go to this diagram once again. Nothing but, so we have completely one server. Let me draw it here. Let me clear this page.
Hi Devashish.
Okay.
Sorry to
Yes. No
Hi
problem.
Devashish. Sorry to
Yeah,
interrupt you.
yeah. Tell me.
Yeah. As you mentioned about the data focusing, so just one query. So as you mentioned,
Mhm.
if we are just deleting the field or metadata,
Yes.
so it's checking the
Correct.
related details in database, right? Does it
Correct.
require any master detail or some kind of relation required, or in any kind of relation
No.
it will check every time it's
No, no,
checking,
no.
right, in
See,
database?
what I'm every time it will check. So let me show you that in example. Okay. So let's say I'm just writing a dummy class quickly. Okay. I have so many objects here. So let me go one class quickly here. Okay. I'll explain how to write class, but to show you that if I go here, just I'm writing a class quickly. Okay. I just wrote something here. New class. Just I wrote one small class here. case class for training. Okay, just forget the name, that how to write the class, the syntax, everything I'll say. Okay, let I just wrote a method here, my method. Okay, so now let's consider I'm just writing one account s is equal to, let's see, I wrote something one query. Don't worry what lines of code I'm writing. Okay, I'm just taking a specific field from the account right now, or I can go to this account object right now here. I just took this account field. I'm just going to take a specific field, not standard field. I'm just going to take a custom field which called SLA. Okay, the moment I go to not SLA, let me take a pick list number, SLA serial number. Okay, so now let's ID and SLA serial number I took here. Okay, from account limit 1. So now if you see, I have used that field. What happened here? Extra line 1 this. Sorry, this type mistake here. Okay, I just wrote one this class, and see there is a field which we call SLA serial number. Okay, so now if I go to this account field, the moment I try to delete this field, okay, I just click the delete. Yes, I want to delete this. Okay, so what happened here? The Salesforce will check this field is used in some programming language. So see, my class I have written, and the field nothing but it's in database. Okay, in the object. So now the moment I'm deleting this, it is as it is integrated completely, the Apex class and my database, everything integrated. The class is integrated in such a way that, so if any field is being removed or being deleted, internally it will check, oh, I am using that in my class, then how we can delete it? We cannot delete it. It's showing the message. The custom field referenced elsewhere in the system. Okay, so this kind of integration of Apex in the complete server we have. Got the point?
Yes, Devesh. Thanks.
Perfect. Okay, that we call integration. Sorry, the integrated system. So when I say data focused, see, to get the data from this account object, I don't want to write any data connectivity language. I don't want to write any connection open, connection close. Okay, so simply I just wrote this line of code. I'll explain what it is. Something we call SOQL, which we cover in the previous next topics. Okay, I wrote this line of code, and this will give me complete information about that. Okay, I can directly talk to database from my programming language using Apex. Okay, that we call. So now let me tell you about this multi-tenant architecture. Okay, so now see what happened here. When I say multi-tenancy, nothing but if you see, let me draw it. There is a big server we have. Okay, in the server, what happened? If you see, there are many division we have. Okay, so in this division, nothing but this is for one application, this is for one application, this is one application. So if you see, this is completely Salesforce platform, where for example your company have one org. So for them, they have given one specific part of the server, and like this for my company, there is one part of server. Okay, so it's nothing but, if you think one apartment is there, sorry, one building is there, in that building many apartments are there, just think the building nothing but this salesforce.com server, complete server. In the server or in the building, you can take one apartment. Let's consider this is nothing but your apartment, and second one nothing but my apartment. Okay, and third one nothing but Anil's apartment. Okay, so all these apartments we have here. So now see, multiple tenancy are staying in one building. Same way, Salesforce talks it, multiple tenants they have in the same server. So now, if in this application or in the one apartment, if I made some changes, it is only applicable to me. If I made this change of the color, it's only applicable to this apartment. Same way, the application what you're writing, what logic you write, it will reflect only on your place. And in this part, you may have a 2 BHK, 3 BHK, 4 BHK apartments, correct? So now, even inside that apartments, you can customize something, correct? So that customization will be applicable for all. So same way, I can write a Apex programming for applicable to any applications. So in one Salesforce, if you log in, you have sales, you have service, you have marketing, you have some custom applications. The Apex class what you write, it will be applicable to all the applications what you have. Nothing like okay, I write a class, it will be applicable only in the sales module. No, you can use that in any applications. Okay, so it is supports multi-tenancy completely. Okay, so for that we have governor limits that we'll discuss sometime later. Okay, so as we stay in multi-tenancy architecture, so how we focus on the Salesforce governor limit, what are the best practices to follow that. Okay, we'll discuss all that all that stuffs also. Okay, so in that way we just concluded Apex nothing but see more about I'm talking today theoretically because it's just an introduction what is what. Okay, but then from next class we'll jump to the programmatically. Okay, so Apex nothing but it's a strongly typed OOPS language which supports polymorphism. When I talk OOPS, nothing but polymorphism, inheritance, abstraction, everything. Okay, and in advantages, it's an integrated data focused language which is easy to use, and the versioning to the lower and upgrade to newer version. It's quite easy by just clicking one edit button. Okay, and also we support the multi-tenancy architecture here. Okay, so when I should use this Apex. Okay, as I said from the starting, when I'm talking to using the Apex, so first thing, whenever you have something which is difficult to handle in a point and click functionality, like nothing but like workflow or approval process or process builder, or maybe your validation rules, formula fields. If you are not able to achieve that, then we usually go to the logic or development. So now let's see if you want to write something called complex logic. Okay, then we go for Apex programming. If you want to create a VA page, like some user interface you create by using VA page, or maybe by using the lightning component, or maybe you want to invoke some logic, complex logic from the process builder, that moment we write logic in the Apex. Okay, logic in the sense it may be a small method, maybe a class, maybe a batch class, maybe scheduler class, anything it may be. Okay, when there is two systems, okay, and you want to integrate that two system together. Okay, if that two systems integration is quite complex where we cannot use the any connectivity like provided, nothing but Salesforce connector or maybe our external data connector. If not there, then we used to write some integration. When you do integration, you need write some Apex programming. Okay, Apex programming we can use in your complex logic. Okay, nothing but when you want to process something in the system in a bulk, that time you can use the batch programming, that time you can use in the complex validation, in the lightning component, visual force page, in integration, whenever in a simple way the things which you cannot achieve in out of box functionality, then that moment you have to jump to programming. Okay, you write the logic there which is not possible by point and click. And all these points we'll see. For example, I want to write something. Whenever somebody sends an email to a particular email address of my system, I want to create a record. Okay, so as an admin, there is no such a functionality available for us where I can receive one email and from that email I can create a record in my system. So that moment what I'll do, I have to write some logic for that. Nothing but I can define my email service. Okay, so how to write this email service, what are the precautions I have to take, what is the best practice to follow, everything we'll discuss. Okay, same way it may be email service, it may be a web service integration, it may be a normal trigger. Okay, in all the points we need to write Apex. Nothing but the best principle is that when there is some complex thing to process, thing means it may be anything, maybe a lightning component, maybe a validation rules, anything. There are many validations which you can write just click and point functionality, but some validations As a being admin, you have seen there is a lot of validations we write in the trigger or in the some classes. And how to do that? Because that logic what we have, it's not achievable easily. The example what I said in the starting. Okay. So that time I come to Apache programming, the complex thing to process, which is not provided by out of box functionality, okay, not provided. Then I go to write the Apache programming. Okay. So now, whenever I'm writing Apache programming, two things: how I'll write as a developer, okay, and as a system, how it is going to understand, or as an end user, how it is going to process your program. Nothing but what happened. First thing, how developer write a program. Okay. Second thing, how system understand it. And third thing, I wrote a program, system understood it. Now when end user accessing that, then how the system will process that. In the end user point, how it is processing. Okay. When I say all these points, nothing but let me explain this diagram to you. It will give you a little bit more clarity. Okay. Nothing but you see. So if you see this diagram here right now, so nothing but you see I have a database here. Nothing but my data storage we have defined here, correct? See, this is nothing but my complete data storage. Okay. So now whenever you are writing Apex, where it goes. Okay, I just wrote one small Apex class right now here. I saved it. The moment I saved, what happening? So it is going and saved somewhere. Like when you create a record, it's saved somewhere. Same way, when you write a class, where it is being saved. First thing. Okay. Now, before save of this class, is there anything Salesforce checks? For example, I just wrote something like this. If I click on the save, do the system check something? Yes, it checks something. So what is this we called? Okay. So how this development happens? Okay. So what happened? Let me make this diagram for you. Instead of explaining from this diagram, like you may be missed somewhere, I will make this diagram one by one, and I will make you to understand that. Okay. So let me go here. Let me make one new diagram for you. So now, being a developer, I am writing one small class. Okay. I am writing a small class here. It's my system. I just modified something, some class. I click the save button. Nothing but my class. I click on the save button. The moment I saved, there is someone in the system who checked. Am I writing this class in proper syntax? If not, don't take this class to save in the system. Nothing but there is something we have which we call database in the system. Okay, somewhere here I have one database metadata. This is we call metadata server. Okay, so here all the classes are being saved. Okay, in the server there is a metadata server, so all the metadata of the class being saved. So now if you see here, the moment I clicked on the save, the system what do here, system checks syntactically my class is correct or not. Nothing but if you see here, the moment I clicked through internet, I send the class to database. But before to that, there is something a compiler exists. Nothing but my class first goes to one check. What is that check? I will call that check nothing but first there is something called compiler. Okay. So in this check, I have something which I call as compiler. Nothing but I call it Apex compiler. Okay, it will come to Apex compiler. So as I'm in the cloud, always what happen here, the what things I wrote through internet, I'm just going to talking to the Salesforce compiler. I clicked on the save button, it's through internet, it came to the compiler. Okay, the moment it's reached in the compiler, compiler checks based on the predefined functions provided by Salesforce. Okay, is that class what I'm going to save in database? So my target to save to database. Just before to saving to database, it will check is this class written as per syntax or not. If yes, then take that class and save in database. Okay, see, if I show that diagram, I click save on a uncompiled Apex, the modified some classes. Okay, it's not compiled yet. I click to save. I call to compiler. Okay, the compiler checks, okay, which reside on the application server. Compiler checks, okay, that class follows all the syntax or not. Okay, if there is not logical check, it's a just syntax check. If it's there, then go and the compiled version of that class go and store in my metadata. Okay, so now once I stored here, that's fine. If but sometimes if my compilation fails, let's see for example this one. If this is fail, what happened then? If this is fail, the moment I call this compiler, if it's failed, then I will not go from here. Then this call not going to happen. So this will return to the same to me with appropriate error message. Okay, compilation error. So I will get what is the error message. Like if you see currently in this class, I got some error message. See, so my compiler failed here. Okay, so the moment I am going to save this, the syntactical check by the Apex compiler found okay there is some error. So this syntactically not correct. So that message sent by compiler to us and in the system I shown to here. So if you see, I shown to this place. So now the next work what I have, okay, I have to fix this error. The moment I fixed it, okay, now I clicked on the save. Now my class is being compiled by Apex compiler. Oh, all good. Now class went and saved in my database. So that is nothing but this way. If everything good, came and saved in my database the class. Okay, if you see all the classes what I have, let me show you that also. Everything being so saved, like your account records being saved in account object, same way let me show you the class or the trigger or the object or the any logic you write, it's also being saved somewhere. There is some database also we have. Let me check that. If you see something, see Apex class, Apex page. Okay, here all the classes being saved in the Apex class, the class name belong to which version, everything being saved there. Okay, so now see, now we understood. Okay, we wrote the Apex. It's if it is compiled or uncompiled, what to happen. Okay, now my class is ready and saved. Right now let's consider this class being invoked from a some logical button click. Some user clicks a button, then this class being invoked. So when the end user calls, what happens? So when end user calls, my class they are not going to compile. Already compiled class is there. So when any some end user invokes that by some button click or somewhere something happens, then they will go. They will not check with compiler the runtime. There is something we have called a runtime. Okay, like we have Apex compile time, there is something we have called Apex runtime. That runtime engine will check. So I have so many classes. Which class to invoke? Okay. So on, let's consider for the click of the button. Let's see how in the moment I just click this button like edit button. Same way I may go and click on the account button. Let's see, consider account new button. On under this new button, there is a specific logic written. So what is the logic written? Based on that, the runtime will check the call or the request what came from the end user. What request came from end user? What metadata they want? Okay. Based on that, it will talk to my database. Okay. Go and check database if I have that. If it's there, then take that the output send to the end user as a HTML format. Nothing but you see when the end user request it go to Apex runtime, it check for the compiled Apex, get that class and send the result to end user. In this is the flow of Apex from end developer point of view and from end user point of view. Okay, so same way when you go here, we understood this concept, correct? Any question for me? Anil or Ramadan?
No, Devashish.
Yeah, Devash, just
So
one thing. So
yeah,
runtime is, can we say it's based on record level? Because at a runtime, let's suppose I'm creating one record, so that time only the runtime is checking. Is it correct?
yes. See, always whenever we are saying two things we have compilation and runtime. System I'm dividing in two ways. One I'm saying compile time and one I'm saying runtime. Okay, let me explain what is the
Yeah, I got
difference.
it. But yeah. Okay. So can we say runtime is at a record level
Runtime
and the
means
compile time it's
no, no, see, runtime I will not say record level. Okay, so that means there will be some cases where like record when you're saying nothing but a for instance I can say account record, contact record. It's not that
Mhm.
way. So there may not be any record, but I may execute some logic. Okay, So nothing but when you are executing something, when your execution starts.
No,
Okay.
in a main diagram.
Yes. So in this diagram, nothing but the end user initiates some execution, some initiates some transaction. Okay. The moment some transaction starts, then I call runtime. For example, okay, you are building a home, you are building one flat. Okay. The the time you start the building and end of the building, nothing but a compilation time. Okay. And the moment you came to stay there, that is nothing but the runtime of the home. You are running it, correct? So that is runtime. Same way, when you are writing, developing, modifying something, all you are compiling the problem, compiling the system to fit as per our expectation. Okay. Once you saved it and somebody coming to use that, they invoke that, then we call it as runtime. Okay. And let me give one more example. See, you have a car. Okay. The moment you start the car, you will go, nothing but it's in running mode. The execution starts.
Yeah.
But if
Okay.
you clean the car, if you fix something, that is nothing but the compile time. You're making the car to run properly. Okay. So this runtime may initiate from the record level. Let's say I want to manipulate some record. That time I'm just going to invoke something logic that may be a runtime. And in the same way, that runtime may invoke from the web service, from the email service. Okay. Then whenever some email come to my system, I may not create a record. I may send that email by checking, okay, this email if it's to a specific type, then forward that email to some or another email address. Okay. It may not talk to my record, but it is just starting off my execution. Got my point?
Yes, yes. Okay.
Or any confusion?
Okay. The In a general diagram you mentioned that in a developer end or end user end.
Any-
So basically, developers dealing with metadata, right? So
Yes,
is that something
correct.
like that? Yeah. Okay. Got it.
Yes, developer always dealing with metadata. Okay,
Right.
and end user nothing but they are dealing with the compiled version of metadata.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Perfect. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
So till now we understood what is Apex. Okay, when I need to use Apex, and if you write Apex, how it happens. Okay, same way. Okay, this is Apex. We'll write it, and as you are working right now, you know concept of sandbox, concept of production, then how the life cycle of this Apex goes on. Okay, whenever you write this Apex, life cycle of Apex. Okay. So for whenever write Apex, nothing but you develop one Apex program. It may be a simple class, maybe it is a trigger, maybe it is a integration piece of code, anything. The moment you write a Apex program, so in the end we need to send that piece of logic to the production. Okay. For that, always you should write the test class for that, develop the class, test it, and through change set or through different mechanism using anything, you send that code to production and deploy this. This is the main thing. And the moment you deploy, then runtime starts on easy execution. Okay. And we are going to see how to deploy, how to write these test classes, and how to write all the ways. So, what are the tools we can use to writing this Apex? Okay, there are many tools. Okay, one of first of all, there is if you see my previous video what I have shared for the demo, there are something called pass. Salesforce providing one developer console here. You can write any Apex here also, any kind of program you can do here. If you go here file new, you can create a class, trigger, all this stuff. We'll do everything. This is one tool which is nothing but we call developer console, which completely post.com id. And also inline you can write from here, like right now I have written something class here, correct? You can go here in this Apex class, you can click new, you can write your logic also. Okay. And also there are many tools. Okay, like you can use Eclipse, you can use any version control systems. Okay. And also if you want in this id, anywhere you can use, all these are interconnected. See, I can just connect to my system here. Okay, I can write a class, that class will be saved in my Salesforce. everything in the cloud. There are many tools. So all the tools I'll explain one by one. Okay, what are the tools you need to use to write the program? Okay, any confusion?
All good.
All good, perfect. Okay, so now I'm not going to talk more about Apex today. Okay, I just keep as much as less for discussion. Okay, we just got to know what is Apex in a single line without any more deep. We can say it's a strongly typed WOOS programming language which is integrated and data focused to my database, integrated to all over my system, easily versionable, and resides as a multi-tenant architecture. Okay, and I should use this Apex whenever there is a complex logic to build which is not supported as a out-of-box functionality. Okay, and there are many tools available like First.com ID, Eclipse, and my Aside IO, Developer Console. Anywhere you can write the Apex programming. Okay, and also right now, if you see something you heard about in different groups, Lightning Web Component, you can use this VS Code also to write. Okay, in VS Codes also I can write Apex programming. I can do everything. Okay, that also we can do. So there are many tools provided by Salesforce we can use, and we understood what is the flow of development of Apex and how the end user accesses. This is the basic diagram I have copied from Salesforce only to explain you. So if there is something in diagram, then you can understand betterly. Okay. And the development process falls in developing, testing, and deployment. How to develop the Apex class, how to test it by writing some unit test cases, and then how to deploy that. Okay. So I'll stop the session from this with this much discussion today. Okay. And we'll see from the next discussions what we can do. Okay, so from this discussion, if you have any questions or if you have any question out of this discussion, please feel free to ask.